The haunted and historic Glen Tavern Inn was built in 1911. It's been in multiple shows and movies, including the Dead Files episode titled Double Jeopardy, the Ghost Adventures episode titled The Glen Tavern Inn, Jack Osbourne's Night of Terror, and the 2014 film starring Danny Trejo titled Reaper. The inn, located in Santa Paula, California, has seen its share of tragedy. Everything from the flood of 1928 that killed approximately 500 people, 200 of those people were in Santa Paula, to legends of suicide and documented suicide. And as the owner Rosanna said in Jack Osbourne's Night of Terror, sometimes they check in just to check out. The first, second, and the third floor have all had countless reports of paranormal activity. Full-bodied apparitions, disembodied voices, shadow people, and night terrors are just some of the things that have been reported. This video is a late-night walk-through tour of the inn, from the third floor to the second floor and down through the lobby and the first. There's a lot of history behind this inn. The things that I point out in this video are simply the things that stand out the most to me and that I would like to pass on and share with you, the viewer. I hope you enjoy the video, and thank you for tuning in. Okay, so it's about 1:20 in the morning, and let's go for a little walk. So this is room 307. This and room 308 are probably the two most notorious rooms in the building. Ghost Adventures did a huge segment in this room, and there's a ton of legends behind it. And this is the infamous third floor hallway, where if you go by what the Dead Files said, then the serial killer Joe Dye might be the one roaming this hall, going room to room, striking fear into the people that stay on this floor. So as we pass through this little opening right here, on the right hand side you'll see room number 302. That's the room where Zach had that little episode in. I think he got possessed or something, but you can tell that it's that room because across the way from it there's this little opening with a chair and a window. And this right here is where Nick was freaking out trying to get into the room. And here on the right we have room 301. A gentleman recently passed away inside this room. It's said that he died of a broken heart. Now we're approaching room 308. Steve DeShavi and Amy Allen did huge segments in this room on the Dead Files episode titled Double Jeopardy. And this is the room where Sharon Osbourne had a medical emergency and unfortunately had to be rushed to the hospital in Jack Osbourne's Night of Terror. Okay, now we're going to go down to the second floor and take a look around. Now as we pass through these doors on the second floor, on the right hand side, in 1969 there was a woman who was working here. She was called upstairs by a man who was freaking out on the second floor, claiming that he lost his key and couldn't get into the room. He was screaming and yelling and pounding on the door. When she reached the second floor landing and tried to help the man get into his room, she was beaten and stabbed. She wasn't killed, but she was beaten and stabbed. Amy from the Dead Files saw this in a vision, and it was confirmed by a historian via newspaper clippings. Some say the man was possessed. Now at the end of this hallway you'll see an emergency exit. Just outside that emergency exit are some bungalows. In the closet of one of those bungalows, a gentleman named Henry hung himself. This information was featured on the Ghost Adventures episode and confirmed by police report on the Dead Files episode. His spirit is also said to haunt the building. If you decide to visit, please only use the emergency exits in emergency situations. Okay, now we're going down to the first floor lobby area. Now this lobby is where they held the seance with psychic medium Patrick Smith in the Ghost Adventures episode. This is also where Amy Allen was in the Dead Files episode when she described the flood of 1928. She said that the floor was wet and that there were men arguing over the state of the hotel. Now, in this hallway in the Ghost Adventures episode, Zach was standing right here talking to psychic medium Patrick Smith while Patrick explained seeing an apparition in one of the rooms, that room being room 103. Patrick said that he checked into room 103, set his bags down, turned to look towards the bed, and saw a woman tending to a young man who looked to be sick or injured. When asked about the incident, Patrick said it seemed as though it were a moment frozen in time. And at the end of this hallway, you'll see room number 106. This room was also featured in the Ghost Adventures episode when the owner's daughter told a story about seeing a female apparition. So that concludes my 1 a.m. late night walkthrough tour of the Glen Tavern Inn. Of course, there's much more history behind this building. This is just what I could fit into this small video. I hope you enjoyed it, and thank you for watching.